So now we just do this. We make a copy of the synthesizer. Weird way to use our 3 steps ahead. We take the 2 looks. Thran Spider can just go. We're going to shuffle it away anyway. We block this for free. Anoint. 2 more constructs come in, anointing this away. Obviously, we don't have to use the mana. Now it's gone. I hit for 6. Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing some Dimir artifacts. As you probably have looked yourself, Aether Drift is coming out, the new set dropping, I believe, February 14th. It's always so weird when a new set drops because it's either the day it releases online or it releases a week early in paper and then a week later online. So I don't really know. I do know the 14th has a relevant date, at least when it comes to your local LGS and maybe when they can be running pre-releases. So that is kind of, at least that date we'll know every card has come out. But with the new set, as I will put on screen, hopefully I remember, to put some of the new artifact creatures and cards coming out that we might be able to benefit from playing our Simulacrum Synthesizer. Winter obviously being one of those cards that is very, very good, giving all artifacts Ward 2. We don't get to play it here today, but we're going to try to build and see what the future holds for us when it comes to building that. So a Simulacrum Synthesizer is what we are currently playing around now, but whenever it enters the battlefield, we scry 2. Very good, but not kind of why we're playing it. It's really for this bottom mode here. Whenever another artifact you control with mana value 3 or greater enters, create a 0/0 colorless construct creature token that has a 1/1 for each artifact we control. That is very easy to do. We have quite a bit of things that do it, as you can kind of see over here. All these artifacts, including itself entering, not the first copy, but a second copy, obviously, entering. And then if you have 2, the multiplication of it gets vastly higher, and the constructs become lethal very, very, very quickly. So with that said, we are using 3 steps ahead as a main cornerstone in the deck with the synthesizer, for the fact that we can use this 3 mana mode in the bottom. So for 4 mana, we can make a copy of the synthesizer whenever we need to. And then after that, any kind of artifact being played is just going to develop a massive board state very, very quickly and very, very resiliently. So other than that, we are playing Braided Net to tap things down, draw cards. Thran Spider to have reach. It's a 2/4, makes us a Power Stone, makes multiple artifacts. Mightstone and Weakstone to draw or remove stuff. No Urza in here as we are not playing white. Phyrexian Fleshgorger to prototype for 3 or play as a big menace creature later. Ward not as relevant, as Nowhere to Run is a popular card being played, but it can still trigger Synthesizer, and it's also just a good lifelinker. But we are only on 2, where I used to play 4. And then Worldwalker Helm, this is probably one of the best cards alongside of a Synthesizer whenever it comes to making a lot of artifacts. So Synthesizer makes a construct. Whenever this enters, this sees that construct and makes a map. And then we can spend 2 mana to make a copy of that construct. And then it'll make another map. So very quickly, like the artifact count there alone is 6. So we have 2 6/6s. If we use the 3 steps ahead to copy Synthesizer, we can use Worldwalker's Helm copy ability to make a copy of that token synthesizer, which obviously gets a ton more value. There's an example in the video that I bring up and talk about. Other than that, we are prioritizing Arcane Proxy, one of the cards that came out a while ago. This is a card that does have some threat of rotating, but that's still not for a little while now, I believe. But whenever it enters, if you cast it, exile target instant or sorcery card with mana value less than or equal to Arcane Proxy's power from the graveyard. Copy it and cast that copy for free. So we have Cut Down as removal, Anoint with removal, and Go for the Throat as removal. Nowhere to Run is there, but it cannot be copied. We have multiple removal spells with Proxy that also can be used to make tokens, so we get a lot of value there. And then Duress being one of the better cards that we are able to kind of main board now, whereas before we couldn't when I played this list. But we can Duress them, remove us creature on 2, and then Proxy again, Duressing them once again, or removing an additional creature if necessary. Outside of that, we're going to hop into the games. Our hand priority is typically going to be 3 lands, an interaction spell, a synthesizer, and so on and so forth. But with that said, let's go game. Okay, we go first. The only black mana we have is the river, so it'll be a little painful, but it should be fine. And by a little painful, like, it might be a little painful, depending what our opponent's playing. It might not be painful at all. Golgari could be, like, a fine matchup in general. We'll surveil now. Another land. 4 mana. We have the next 2 turns figured out, so I don't want to keep a land there, even though it does technically help us with the Mightstone, Weakstone. We have Squirming Emergence, I guess. We'll pass, and then we can probably just counter whatever spell they put on the stack here. Just don't let them get started at all. I also don't get the value of like having that card later either, so it's just like we slow them down quite a bit. We can say that. Spelunking? Okay. Feels incredibly weird of a card to be playing, but sure. Here's a Braided Net. My opponent played this and then played a Spelunking. Like I don't. But sure, I guess. Like something on my glasses actually bothering my vision while I'm trying to play. Like it's like smudged or something and I literally can't see and it's giving me a headache. Jace. Oh yeah, of course. Sure. Jace is fine. Jace is just going to be kind of an annoying card in general for us to have to deal with. Although we do have cool tricks with it where we can kind of tap it down on their upkeep and they can't do much with it. Go here. Let's make a couple draws. All we have is removal in hand. Find a synthesizer. We pass here. Activate this. This makes Jace unable to be activated, which is one of the weird techs that Braided Net does have applied to it. Emergence is available. Land untapped. Here we go. It's our turn. Play this synthesizer. Call it a day. Double Scry. Bend both of those. Pass. Now they're keeping the cards they have on top of their library, so we're just going to keep tapping this Jace down while we can. So weird to try to play without my glasses after having worn them all day. I can see without them. It's just like one of the weird things, I guess. I guess I'm gonna have to play this really like obnoxious game. Yep, sure. Or they just accelerated their mana base by a ton. Do surveil, sure. Is it 7? Yeah, so we couldn't have cut down it. We couldn't have nowhere to run it and then cut down it. Sure. Of course, I'm like ready to play this like super grindy game, and then the arena's like, okay, so we're gonna give you Squirming Emergence where it's not gonna happen like that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, my bad. It's also weird to see a Jace tapped, which is quite funny. Last time we can do this. Pass. Pass. Sorry, I could have taken the stop off. Sure. Counter. Copy. We don't have another counter spell, so they could probably reanimate here, which is fine. Not fine, but it is what it is. Oh, or not. Okay. We have an artifact to bring out. We do not. What if I do this? Sure. I don't have a way to necessarily draw these cards right now. I'm gonna craft. This will make 3 more constructs. Now we go to combat. I could hit the Jace, but Jace can't do anything but plus here, so I just don't care. We're gonna hit him down to 5, and we're gonna hope this is good. I don't know what they can necessarily reanimate that just like gets the job done here, especially after their turn's just been pass, right? Or like try to do that and then pass, but we'll see. Sure. Stay thin. Could be a board wipe that counts based on permanents. They have 11. Kind of get to use one of their cards to shortcut here. Now that will resolve. Squirming Emergence, Elish Norn stops ETBs. But can they play Elish Norn? Their white mana is not there. Yeah, so their white mana is tapped. which is the funniest thing that they only have one basic white land. They had to use it for Atraxa. So Eleanor is actually not even playable here. Bitter Triumph is. Our constructs are obviously so large. If we get to draw this 3 steps ahead, nothing matters, by the way. As it is kind of like a... Alright, that's also fine with me. Maybe they'll have Eleanor now, but this doesn't do anything either. As we have 5 of these. Maybe they have a swamp. I just realized they definitely have over 60 cards in their deck. There's no way, right? How many lands they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Sure. It's fine.
Our plans are beyond your comprehension.
I can't shrink that at all, which is only annoying thing. And it says what? If a permanent entering causes a triggered ability you control to trigger, it happens an additional time. They're at 7. They have a Bitter Triumph, so they can remove one of these. Can't cause any problems to happen per se. Still, well, they can't remove one because I have Counterspell, right? Yeah. You weren't dead, I don't think. You might have been dead. I have no idea. So the problem is they have a block. They let this one go through because obviously 7 damage. So it's the least amount they can get hit for. They block. That's... Oh, I have 5 here? I have 6? Never mind. It was covered. I don't know what I was doing. I thought I only had 5. But that was 5 tapped? I don't know. But I'm going to clean my glasses so maybe I can see. Alright, we can go first. We have a Duress into potentially a proxy copying Duress along with the removal and a counterspell. So, yeah, of course, we're going to latch onto this hand. Kind of pretty much what we want. My glasses are cleaned. I'm ready to game. Storm Chaser talent, annoying. But we remove it. This is like also annoying, but the only thing it's going to be able to remove from us is like nothing great, right? Do I just wait here and then maybe let them use it? I don't know. Maybe we get hit with like a Hopeless Nightmare. I just know where to run the creature then. Sure. Huh? Yeah. Definitely a better target here. And then we can do the cool play. Come in. Copy Duress. I hate that it changes the Duress art. That's not cool at all, actually. What? Yo, that's insane. What? Oh, no, not like this. Oh, okay. So they showed us that they drew another land. Yeah, if I'm them, I'm definitely out too. 5 lands in this deck seems pretty absurd. You have a proxy that, like, are you going to know where to run it so you can attack for 1? And if not, like, your 1's not even going to outpace this random 2 for 1 that I have. And I also am playing some shenanigans. So sure, we'll take the win. Hit the record button. Opponent is first. Our hand is fine. We have 3 playables. And if we hit a land while we're also on the draw, we feel pretty good. This deck, Braided Net's like okay. It's obviously got to be one of these. So I guess it's just the Braided Net. Because it's like whatever. Do I want to take a damage and duress them? I guess probably. Then maybe Blaststone can come in and be important here. Shelter by Ghost is annoying, but this town is just significantly worse for me. Like, Shelter by Ghost sure can go on a creature, but we can always eventually remove that creature, right? Whereas in this town, we can never fully get around it or something like that. Maybe they found one. We'll take the land here. Land good. Land the very good. And then, like, for example, if we play a Thran Spider, make that artifact and everything like that, then, like, what do, right? They Shelter by Ghost it, we remove it, we get like another thing that benefits us instead of them because their deck is primarily enchantments, so this typically can't be used. used for that stuff. It can be used to like sacrifice Nightmare. It can be used to like pay for the Shelter by Ghost, things like that. War Trigger, I believe. Add colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Yeah, so we can use it to pay ward, for example. We just can't use it to cast Go for the Throat. And again, weirdly enough, we've played against this deck twice. We haven't really battled it out much, but Duress alone has just been enough to win. Are we allowed to keep this? Probably not, right? The mana's just too bad. We can keep this, and Mightstone and Weakstone can go back. Hopefully we find a spell for the proxy to be played. Darkslick Shores, we pass. What do we got? Mono white? You have mono white. Okay. You believe that Synthesizer can battle with mono white pretty aggressively. Miss land drop? Very cool. No. Land, please. Synthesizer. Can make tokens as well. Anoint, not that good. The Vault, good, because it's just a land that we want to hit. And then we can play the Worldwalker Helm, or we can go for a Braided Net. Another miss land. I think this game is not long for this world. Yeah, so with that said, we'll move on. One of our better hands, and it just comes into nothing. As you can see, I cut a game just a second ago, which maybe I shouldn't have. I already deleted it. But the same happened, but the opposite. Like, I just played a match where I had 2 lands and I drew 2 extra cards. It didn't hit a land and I moved on. So, control matchups, you can't win if you're not hitting lands. All right, we get to go first here. 2 lands. Well, Alexander the pretty good. Okay, fair enough. We're gonna keep the rest. We have Synthesizer. We're gonna see if Arena doesn't do exactly what we just talked about in the last game, where I missed my land drops. I just conceded, cut it. My opponent missed it. We might just do the same thing here. We protection spell probably, right? That's always the protection spell for the most part. Could be like the Ruckus, I suppose. Well, weird. Because the thing is, if I take the Ruckus, I think it's Ruckus, and I'll explain why here in a second. If I don't take Ruckus, I think the problem is they wait to play the Heartfire hero, whereas this way they might feel more inclined to cast a Heartfire hero, which they do not, which is like fine. We luckily enough hit another Duress. We'll go in and we'll take care of the rescue now, because obviously, of course, we now have removal for the creatures. We really need to hit a land. If we miss the land, we're probably going to lose regardless to either one of the creatures, even though we do have double removal here. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Heartfire Hero, put a thing on it, but it also could just be the Manifold Mouse. We remove the Manifold Mouse. I hope they didn't draw a protection spell. I hope they commit to the board. Obviously, we hope that they go for it and be like, maybe we can dodge the cut down. Fortunately, we do not. Let's go to their turn. I want them to use their mana if that's the... I guess I just use the Anoint, right? If they're going to have a mana up to protect a spell, I'd much rather it be used on their turn instead of ours. So there's a Challenger, sure. Card that they obviously can target. We do find another land, not the best in the world. So here's the thing. I think I just have to wait and allow this to hit me for a lot and remove the Challenger, right? If I play Synthesizer, they play this, they target this, it hits me for like 4, and then what am I doing? Like, just nothing, right? I guess this time I shouldn't have waited, right? Because it's like, what am I waiting for? Maybe I should have let them put this on the stack and then removed it, but I'm not entirely sure. Scavenger, okay. All right, another Vault here, which isn't my favorite. Use 2 mana, sack, blow up. Doesn't do anything. Let's play a Synthesizer. Give them 1 turn here. A Proxy is very good. I think these next 2 cards are good. Proxy, remove their thing. It'll make a construct. Draw a land. My mana, well, yeah, it's fine. I was like, please tell me I left the like the proxy on top. I was about to be so upset. So here comes a land. The other reason we go for synthesizer here is because like the scavenger doesn't matter. Like comparatively, like, oh, you have a protection spell? Interesting. I just realized I can't even cast this, so we're just gonna have to hold. Yeah, that's a punt by me. Okay. Do I make a construct, or do I just... Actually, I can just make a copy of synthesizer, and then we can just run it down that way, right? And I draw a land, I blow up a land, I get an additional blue. Okay, I'm cool with this. Let's see what's up here. And then we can, like, obviously block with the synthesizer. They go for Manifold Mouse. I would assume this is a protection spell. It all worked out, sort of. Ethereal Armor there. That is fine. They obviously don't know about the proxy. Sure. This is all okay. And then we'll anoint this following this turn. We should be fine to do so. Again, the proxy cast for free. We hope they attack. Yep. So now we just do this. We make a copy of the synthesizer. Weird way to use our 3 steps ahead. We take the 2 looks. Thran Spider can just go. We're going to shuffle it away anyway. We block this for free. And now we get to play here. I guess I shouldn't blow up their land, right? Because if I blow up their land, then they'll get a white source and have the protection. I'm catching myself, team. I promise. We're fine. Anoint. 2 more constructs come in. Anointing this away. Obviously, we don't have to use the mana. Now it's gone. I hit for 6. And just like that, we are definitely going to overrun this game. And then I can blow up a land. And if they have a protection spell, it doesn't matter. Being the Shard Mage's Rescue. Almost fumbled the bag. It's a little thing like the weird whenever you have the mana that doesn't work out. Having 5 lands in play and being like, I don't have a second blue in my blue-black deck. Okay, so Alexander the Pretty Good is now Alexander the Pretty Pissed, and he is no longer here to play us anymore. And because for funsies, I want to maximize my no, he has a spell to cast. I just wanted to maximize my damage. I just wanted to do the fun thing. I'll cut it again. I'm sorry. I could have just won. I guess if I went to combat, there would be a pause anyway, so I'm lying. Okay, please don't make him concede. I have something to show. No! Ah, Arena, you're so annoying. I get it, but like, don't get me wrong, Arena. I'd much rather you concede there. But what I wanted to show here, which was really cool. So obviously these are big enough to win the game. But the cool part about playing 3 steps ahead is the fact that we can copy Synthesizer, which obviously we saw how good that was, right? But this is now a token, which matters quite a lot. And the reason why it matters is this Worldwalker Helm would enter the battlefield. We have 2 mana available. This would enter, it would make 2 more constructs, so we'd have 5 in total. And that's so 2 more is going to add 2 more additional to all these, so they're up to 8. Plus this artifact now entering, so these are now 9/9. Plus a token is being made, and the tokens happen differently, so it'll make a map token for each. So then they're already massive. I was hoping to show this, is why I wanted to do it. But because this is a token, the way that Worldwalker Helm works, it doesn't specify what type of token. It just has to be an artifact token you control. So we're actually able to use that 2 mana to copy the Synthesizer, which is now going to enter making more constructs instead of like just making a construct. But we make another Synthesizer, which makes 2 more constructs and then makes like 3 more maps. So these go into like, each one of them is probably one-shotting our opponent at that point, which is super cool. But we don't get to show it there. I just wanted to say, like, if you have to get super high reach, this is a really cool way to do it. If you need to hit them for like 30 or something. All right, my opponent goes first. If they're graveyard strategy, they're going to be upset. But we could also just get overran. This hand is pretty slow, but if our second card happens to be a removal spell and it's an aggro deck, which it looks like it's domain, so we're going to get probably overran. This is a pretty hard matchup overall. Or it's just Abzan kind of control stuff, maybe. We'll see. Seeing a Restless Cottage in this, but most likely that just means it's domain. Yeah, Avatar, it's 100% domain. Let's exile this. Let's get as many kind of hit values out of that as we possibly can. The rest would be a good card to pick up. I'm going to go for the Synthesizer regardless of what my opponent does. Leyline Binding not available here. So we go for Synthesizer, and then next turn we Duress, Arcane Proxy, Duress. We are missing a land drop, so keeping these both is pretty good. So hopefully there's not a whole lot going on, like a binding can't be played here. Because again, if we can... Okay, Overlord comes in, they make that land a little tough, but that's okay. We go for this. We duress our opponent. We look, there's a Zur invasion. Ew. So now I don't even want a proxy. So I do this, and then I just play a Braided Net. Now we will just make a construct anyway. And with no board wipe, they could Overlord me again, which is okay. I don't know which one they'll go with. It could be a Zur. But Zur doesn't get to necessarily activate here. They play the only other land. If they play something important, obviously I will just remove it out of my way. One token is not going to be enough, obviously, as we know. Now, here's the only real issue. I guess we'll exile this invasion because that's fine to do. Just tap one of these. And then we'll remove one with a Mightstone Weakstone, or do we go for a card draw with Mightstone Weakstone? Definitely a hard choice to be had. I think I just go for card draw. We draw 2 cards here. We make another construct. Another Duress comes off the top here. Don't have an artifact necessarily in there. Most likely this will end up absorbing this. They're going to block, so I don't want to use my Braided Net here. I don't imagine there's a way they don't block. They could not, but there's just 0 chance that ever happens. Thur enters, they bring up creature. I tap creature with Braided Net. Especially if it's the Overlord, and then I can look to maybe remove everything. Another land. Maybe they just cast an Overlord? No, they're going the Zur route. That's fine. One will they bring up? Or are they going to wait? There's no way they should wait. We have to get through combat. We don't want to allow them to activate Zur in response. Here. But in theory, find a way to remove all this stuff in general. Is it hexproof? It is. Okay. My turn. An Anoint. Anoint can get rid of this. Then win here is very close. So we Anoint here, taking away hexproof. We Arcane Proxy, anointing away the 2/1. Anoint away this 2/1. And then we activate here, which I should have used this. And I think I missed lethal, actually. Brutal, 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 brutal. Yeah, I think we missed. No, I'd have to have an artifact in the graveyard, I believe. I guess at this point, since it's not going to be lethal anyway, I should just hit them, right? Like, they have to block. There should be no reason. I tapped the creature. Would it be lethal? The artifact comes back. No, it only replaces itself, so it'd be short 1 still, I believe. So the impending here, that's fine. Temporary lockdown is a way to absorb a couple of things here, which is fine if they find it, but they unfortunately do not. All right, we get to go first here. Hand pretty solid. We can Duress, Arcane Proxy. We don't have 3 steps ahead active, but that's okay. We just get to kind of Duress. Oh, and a mulligan. Always gotta love when a maul happens whenever you're getting to put a Duress on the stack, unless they of course play around it, and then we're just spending 1 mana to look at their hand and call it a day. Zombie fight. Wait, my hero? Hello? Bro, somebody give this person a call. They have a Muldrotha in their deck. Enters or dies. Choose one. Draw a card and discard a card. Shuffle up to 4 target cards from advice 3 or greater from a graveyard into your library. Okay. Muldrotha gets bend. Alright. Well, we could go for Braided Net here, but I can also hold up a counterspell now, and I feel like that's almost better. And we can let them dig for one more turn before we fire off the proxy and interact with them. Although I do kind of like just interacting with them, I think. I have 2 cards. I don't know. It could be good, it could be bad. Let's go look. This is the next turn I can hold up 3 steps ahead, but also duress them again. And once again, the duress art changing is actually infuriating. But sure. Avatar playing here. They have Muldrotha, which is dope. There are elementals, but a weird thing. The 3 steps ahead couldn't even counter this. So thankfully, even though it didn't do anything, that we actually did the thing, I guess. Synthesizer is a card that we obviously want to find sooner than later. Let's play... Interesting. Let's play a Darkslick Shores. Let's go for a Braided Net here. And honestly, let's just start trucking through this. Start putting damage on. I don't know who is messaging in Discord, but my phone is lighting up over there and it is distracting me. I don't have that stuff turned on typically, but Demo Field here. Fine enough. Zombie fighting a Muldrotha back doesn't seem like the best thing I've ever seen, but this should probably mill themselves, I would assume. They've gone... Oh, they're milling me. Okay. I feel like after I just did an Arcane Proxy, I probably wouldn't be in the business of milling my opponent who uses an Arcane Proxy. Move... Tap another target non-land permanent, so we can't actually tap that, which does suck overall, but I feel like that attack kind of tells us maybe their hand's a bit weak. So let us go with this. This has to be cash, right? If you cast the exile, that's a little tough, but that's okay. I guess I just go to combat and hit them. And then I can... maybe counter an important spell like a Zombify or something. Maybe Demo Field will want to be used on my Vault. I'm not sure. Definitely gonna this feels like a loss and doesn't necessarily feel that close. There's Zombify available here. So let's just do the old-fashioned counter draw to. Not let them loot away. You know? Especially considering they don't have like a ton going on. My Vault should be hit here, in which we'll just grab an island. One of the things I actually failed to do is look and see what my actual distribution is. But I think Island's the most popular kind of color combination, especially with Prototype being here. One of the awkward things of going through that. Worldwalker Helm, go for the throat. Good pickups all around. I probably just want to duress their hand, so I guess getting rid of this land works. The 1 damage is whatever. I'd rather keep my counter here. Phyrexian, a Flesh Gorger, huh? I don't know. We'll see. You got a dead hand or a good hand? Coma, liver death. Okay, so that's gone, thankfully. Phyrexian Flesh Gorger comes in. I move to... I just pass turn. Coma's just going to be a good card. They can honestly just cast... The land sucks in Restless Reef because, like, a little part of me wants to double block that. Go for the throating. The Coma is important, but it has, what, like, Ward 4? Yeah. I guess also the Restless Reef doesn't matter too much. As long as they just keep milling me, I don't really care. I'm surprised they didn't mill themselves when they're a Zombify deck. Or a Reanimate deck in general. There goes the Synthesizer, which sucks. I could double block, but then both my creatures die, and one of my creatures had lifelink, so I just shouldn't do that, I think. Seems like a bad call. No token available either. But let's go here. I don't know. Wow, interesting situation. Let's go for the third this. Seems like a pretty obvious play overall. Phyrexian Flesh Gorger can obviously keep up with this for the most part. Then I'm going to go ahead and craft here, I think. I know I lose the counters, but we have to do something, I believe. We'll go ahead and hit this Ghost Vacuum. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to bring our artifacts back like we would in White, for example. But one synthesizer down, almost halfway through our deck. So as long as they don't mill us too much more, or even if they do, we should be like roughly fine. Coma's about to get put into play. It can't be countered anyway. So 4-3. Jace the Perfected Mine. Okay, that makes more sense why they've been targeting me the whole time. He's going to barrel it against me because, like, the Phyrexian Flesh Gorger. Yeah, so they're just barreling, hoping to stick it out and then maybe find another Jace. Last Zone comes in. Maybe not the best thing of all time. We'll play here. Play this. They're gonna play a Coma, but I'm going to have to draw cards here. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Let's attack here. We already played a land, so there's no real reason to pivot off this. We can bring up the Reef and attack, but I assume Coma's coming down at this point. The Jace. And just being a Reanimator deck and then prioritizing milling me doesn't, like, you know, it doesn't make, like, much sense. Like, I get it, but also I don't at the same time. Nowhere to run. Go for the Throat 1 and 2 are in there. We really don't have a great way to get rid of this Coma. Okay. Now we really don't have a great way to get rid of this Coma. Alright, well, Menace is good. -5 here works. Trample for 8. Block here. They mill, then they make what? A ton of dudes? They make... yeah, dude, sure, yeah, uh-huh. Let us... 1, 2, so 5, 2, 3... No copy will be made. So, okay, let's surveil here. I understand I'm getting milled, but there's nothing else I could do. Tap here. Play this. -5 on this. Shuffle stuff is interesting. I don't know. It's a really weird card. Yeah, they're going to shuffle Jason, but I realistically think with our 2 Go for the Throats in our graveyard, we're not really keen to battle this matchup overall. It's just not a matchup we're, like, too into fighting here. Our Braided Net, obviously, is a little bit farther down. We don't necessarily get to draw it here. Well, I guess we get to draw it here, but is there a way that we can tap stuff down? We can bring in a couple of lands to attack. With Trample, there's no reason to block. Then it can just hold up these creatures as protection as well. So I can Braided Net, tap, sack, activate. I don't know. With no Synthesizer, there's just not like a great way to win this game. This can't be activated on a creature anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We activate, and then I'm just going to draw cards. Yeah. So we know that there's 2 more Synthesizers in the deck, which is quite annoying for it to be at the bottom 14, but there's just nothing we can do here. Tap his Blast Zone, play Swamp. Activate here, see what's up. With 9 cards left, and we already played a land, I guess. Is there any out to this? I don't think so. Yeah, we end up falling short. That does suck. So close, right? Then they bring up. We already played land. Even if we could, it's going to be tapped. No synthesizer. If we have a synthesizer in this game, I think this game's not close, but I mean, that kind of happens. They bring it up. They were looking for some tricks, but yeah, 2 synthesizers being in the bottom 14 cards and that type of draw effect having to happen just to find them is obviously going to cost us quite a bit. So we'll move on. Putting us first, we do have a Duress and we do have the mana to cast it and also play it again. So yeah, we'll keep 4 mana here. That means we're guaranteed to draw 5th. Or a synthesizer. Very cool. Duress. It's control. It's Mind Splice. Experimental Augury doesn't matter. Mind Splice is probably the only card I care about in this entire pit of cards. So we take it. The rest does seem like it's going to be a good Magic the Gathering card for us here. We'll play another land. Probably could have just went ahead and played this Verge, but that's okay. We go for an Augury. Do I go for Synthesizer? I guess it depends if they play a land here. They get a few more looks. Okay. And Anoint goes away. Huh. A little part of me wants to barrel the Synthesizer, and I think this is the best time to do it. We hope they just Augury. No way they found the counter spell, man. That sucks. Oh yeah, just show it to me. Show me another one, dude. Show me another one. Play your Mind Splice apparatus. I was so ready for it, dude. Hey, look, maybe they'll find another counterspell, which will obviously suck, but our cut down is worthless. Our Duress is going to be fired off here. The old art style switch. Aetherize. We don't really care too much about this. If they return our creatures back, at least right now, this is kind of annoying. This can't remove anything. I guess I could take their only removal spell, but I think Flow of Knowledge is by far the best card in that hand. Then we'll just pass, and then we'll go for like a Flesh Gorger. This is only attacking creatures, right? Yeah. They hit that land, which is fine. All right, listen, game. I'm enjoying the lands I'm hitting, but can I stop doing that? I do have a lot of other cards that are very, very cool together. They do have removal. We'll play a Flesh Gorger. We'll make it a little bit awkward. They might double bounce here, which obviously finding like another Duress would be sick. An Arcane Proxy in of itself is not necessarily that fantastic. You can force them to kind of time walk us here. Oh, they go for an Anoint. Okay. We get the damage off regardless. They could go for Bitter Triumph here. Would be interesting. I think I just go for... Honestly, I much rather wait. Like, I'd much rather find, like, a Duress or something that would just be a good card here, you know? Or more lands. More lands equals more good, right? That's what we're here for. Are we Bitter Triumphing? No. Because, again, go for the throat, can't remove it. We probably should have just played this so we can play this for full value, but at this point, we might as well wait. Another land from them as well. They've been a land. At least they got that option. And there's a Vault, which... without an artifact in play, does nothing. Let's just do 3 here. I'm just going to activate the Vault and just use it as a draw 1, discard 1. Or discard 1, draw 1. And just use it as a 1 draw effect over and over and over again. I mean, they could blow it out here, I guess. I mean... cut down's actually worse than the land. I guess I'll put the land in hand. All right, now we're finding some action. Find a Braided Net, good card. You can craft it. You can craft. Is attacking even worth it? Probably. They're at 13, right? So we attack. It hits. Darkslick Shores is okay. I will play a land because obviously if it gets to the point of activating this as a big mana guy. Let's activate here. Oh, it's only for 2 mana. Tough. And we hit the 3 steps ahead. That's brutal. Obviously, it's like whatever, but at the same time, look how many cards they just went up, and then they discard 2 cards only. So we're definitely going to find ourselves in a lot of trouble here. We play another land, which is fine. Finding nowhere to run, which is obviously our discard effect here. We attack, go for the throat, can't remove this proxy, so we're kind of just abusing it while we can. Activate here. Where to run, not worth it. All right, we grab a second removal spell, which is huge. Or a counter spell, which is huge. We are progressing through this game. Combat. Here's 2. A whole whopping 2. It's 3 mana to counter, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we can play the Thran Spider. Probably going to go for a Mind Splice Apparatus. If I had to guess, they're halfway through their deck. There's bound to be one. Mystical Teaching. Go find a spell, which is going to be the Mind Splice, if I had to guess. But also at the same time, like, does Mind Splice even matter as much? They tap out for it, so let's abuse it here. And they might go for Mystical Teaching tap out again. Would be sick. That's 6 mana. They actually couldn't even. Well, they'd be close. Oh, they're giving us a pass for a turn. Sick. That's pretty cool of you. We move to combat. We attack here. And then I'm going to try to find another Duress if I can. I feel like that's worth it. Is that worth doing now? Maybe so. Activate here. Discarding this. Look at the top 4. Okay. None of these are necessarily that great, but at least they go to the bottom. We don't have to worry about it. We'll pass here. Mystical Teaching. Sure. Grab another Mind Splice. We go for counter copy. Or no, we go for counter draw, I think. Discard a card. It'll be the Anoint, obviously. And then it might be a Teaching. Oh, we get there. Holy. So it might have been a Teaching, put a Mind Splice on the stack. We let it obviously resolve because we have to, right? And then we get to go to combat for lethal and then 3 steps counter their Aetherize. So that'd be sick. But yeah, I mean, definitely a hard matchup overall. I would have to assume that these are just dead cards in hand. Like there's probably a couple copies that go for the third or something in hand that they just can't use against us. Which is obviously kind of like a meta hate card in general, as like blue-black decks typically play like 4 of them, because why would you not? It's typically one of the better cards to be playing. But with that said, I mean, I think that's going to do it. A lot of games, a lot of quick ones actually overall. The last 2 kind of went longer, but outside of that, on to the outro. Okay, everyone, here we are with the Artifact deck at the end, and how do we feel? Well, one, I will say, I did not go against the kind of Omniscience combo deck. I do think that is definitely going to be a hard matchup, hence why there are 2 Ghost Vacuums in here that we can use the Vaults to help find or Thran Spider to help find. So this is what the Vacuums are strictly in there for, or like other Reanimate decks, which unfortunately I think we lost to one kind of. They end up just casting one of the big things, but having a Vacuum would have been just nice so I wouldn't have to like stress out about things. But overall, I do think one of the best things we can be doing in a deck like this, and why I didn't end up playing white, is I think this right here is very strong. I think duressing our opponent, even against the aggro decks where we get to kind of take like that monster trade away, the protection spell away or whatever, And then on that turn 2, maybe remove something with some of our removal as we play quite a bit of it. And then playing the proxy and hitting their hand again, especially even like the control decks, duressing them multiple times, turning these duresses into like 6 copies of it. But not playing 4 where it gets kind of detrimental when they're bad, because then you have too many copies and you might just naturally draw it. Whereas in those matchups, we can use an Arcane Proxy to copy like a Go for the Throat, an Anoint with Affliction or something if need be. And Proxy can weirdly target 3 steps ahead because it is 1 mana. You can just pay into the spree, I'm pretty sure. So even worst case scenario, we can just use this as like, oh, we target 3 steps ahead. We cast it for free for the 1. You just have to pay the bottom part of the card though. So it'll cast the blue mana on the top for free, but for the rest of it, you have to pay it because it's like, it works kind of like Kicker in a way, I'm pretty sure. But I could be wrong about that. It didn't come up today, but it has come up in the past. I haven't played this in so long that I kind of just don't remember, and it never came up. So with that said, it's very, very cool. I like the deck a lot. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards to play in Arena and just in general. I mean, this is what one of my commander decks is entirely focused around. So I'm a Brea player for anybody that wants to know. But realistically, it's just to play this and playing Softer Sword Foundry. That's my combo. I cut like KCI and stuff for anybody interested. But yeah, with that said, I mean, that's all I really got. Other than that, with this video going live, I think I'm also going to post. I'm just going to post it and see how it goes. I did a box opening. It's actually sitting over here next to me. Show the cards because that's spoilers. But I did a box opening of Innistrad, the collectors. I had opened one, and then somebody said, oh, have you thought about doing box openings for your channel? And I said, no, not really, because I don't have the best setup for it. But we did it. So if you're interested, we did open some really, really cool cards in it. So if you're interested at all, definitely check it out. It's only going to be like a 10-minute video. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed. This was super fun. I was so happy to play Synthesizer again. It's just one of my favorite things I could be doing. But with that said, I'm going to see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.